Hi, this is a short video on Chapter 2, Mid-Level Exercise 2, the Mortgage Calculator. This exercise is probably one of the more difficult ones you'll have to complete. You may find it strange that you have such a difficult assignment just in the second chapter, but the formulas you're learning in this chapter you'll use throughout the rest of this book. So it's really important to learn and understand the formulas and how they work. So that's kind of the reasoning behind having maybe a more difficult assignment right towards the beginning of the semester. I thought I'd make this video to give you a few little tips on this assignment, show you what the book is explaining, because I think the wording in the book can be a tad bit confusing, and hopefully help you get through this. So if you are working on the mid-level exercise 2 on page 207, you're asked to create a new spreadsheet from scratch. So you're going to create a new spreadsheet called E02M2 loan _ your last name, first name. And then you create the first part of the spreadsheet. So you're creating, if you look at the picture on page 207, you're creating just the text that is on the left-hand side. So the inputs, the constants, the credit, the down payment, the APR. There are some instructions on exactly what to do. You're going to merge some cells, but this is what you're creating in steps A through D. You're creating this portion of the spreadsheet. All right, once you have that completed, and don't worry about the formats, you're going to be asked to do those later. Once you have that completed, you are going to move on to step E, and they're asking that you assign range names to the cells containing individual values. Now you cannot use the create from selection tool here. You're going to have to do them each manually. I know there seems like a lot, but it'll actually help in understanding the formula once you get there. The formulas and the functions once you get there. So what it means by that is you're going to go onto the Formulas tab. You're going to define a name. Define name. And for instance, this one, C4, would be called negotiated cost of house. So negotiated cost of house. Now, if you paid close attention in the chapter tutorial and the hands-on exercises, you cannot use spaces, you cannot use punctuation. Underscores are the only acceptable punctuation that you can use. And I would name these each based off of the title that's just to the left of them. So this one's negotiated cost of house. I'm going to cancel this because I already have this one named. The next one's going to be additional down payment. This is going to be date of first payment. This one's going to be credit rating. And then so on. Property tax rate, down payment to avoid PMI, PMI rate, term of loan in years. And because this one has the pound symbol and you can't use that, I added num for number, NUM, of payments per year. So you're going to name all of those. Now this table is a lookup table. You're going to use it for some lookup functions once you get to the functions. So I would highlight and name this entire thing. Okay, I believe I called mine credit rating lookup table, something to that effect. All right, so once you have all the field names set, and the field names is actually per cell up here on top and for the table here on the bottom. Once you have those all set, you're ready to move on to step F. So in step F, you're going to now start to create what you see on the right side of the image on page 207. You're going to add the titles, the text that you see here. It's going to also ask you to extend the width of column E, so you'll do that. And then same thing here, you're going to go through and name each of the cells. Now they don't have anything in them yet, but it's going to be important still that you name them because it will help with your formulas as you start doing those. So F4 here, we define name, and let's scoot this over so we can see what we're doing. APR based on credit rating is what I would name this one. And you do that all the way down, so this one's going to be min down payment required, annual property tax, annual PMI, total down payment, amount of loan, monthly payment, and you can leave the P&I off of that, monthly property tax, monthly PMI, total monthly payment, and date of last payment. You do not have to name intermediate calculations or output because those are just titles. So once you have everything in column F named, even though there's nothing there yet, you're ready to move on to G. Now G is where we start to create the formulas, and the formulas can be a little bit on the more difficult side, I would say, for being chapter 2. But what I've created is a little cheat sheet for you that lets you know what functions you're going to be using to kind of help you along here. So you may want to pause this video, jot these down, whatever you would like to do so that you can use what I've put in red text here to hopefully help you create the formulas. So to calculate APR based on credit rating, you're going to use a VLOOKUP function. On min down payment required, you're going to use a VLOOKUP function. I have not given you the entire function because I want you to work on try to figure those out. If you really get stuck, you can email me. I'd be happy to help you along the way, but I want you to do your best to try these out. Okay, for annual property tax, that one is not a function. It's just going to be a simple formula using the negotiated cost of house and property tax. Okay, so for this one, I'll actually tell you what it is. It's equals negotiated cost of house times property tax rate. And so you should use the names of the cells in the formulas. So this one can actually say equals negotiated cost of house times property tax rate. But when I say simple formula, that's what I mean. You're not using a function, you're just going to actually do some calculations there. The next one is an if function because you're going to check to see, according to our information here, if the customer made more than 20% down payment, then they don't have to pay PMI. But if they didn't make 20%, then they do. So this is going to be an if function. It's going to test to see if the total down payment divided by the negotiated cost of the house is greater than 0.2 or 20%. If it is, then your value, if true, is 0 because they won't pay an annual PMI. Otherwise, you're going to do some calculations. You're going to calculate the amount of loan times the PMI rate. Now, this is a little strange because you'll notice that we are referring to total down payment and amount of loan, which haven't been calculated yet. Those are down here, total down payment and amount of loan. That's okay. Still use them. That's why the names of the cells are really important. If you use the names of the cells, for right now, annual PMI will just probably show with a dash there because it can't figure out the rest of it without having the other numbers. But as we come down and finish the next two functions, annual PMI will be updated. So you're using an if function, and don't worry about not getting a result the first time. You should get it after you finish the next two. So down below that, most of these are simple formulas. I've kind of given you tips on which cells you're going to be referring to help you figure out the formula just a bit. And then on the monthly payment, you're using the PMT function. Now, the one function that they do describe really well is the eDate function. So if you look at the last bullet point in the textbook on G, page 208, the last bullet point explains the eDate function. It's going to return the last payment date. Make sure that you subtract 1 when you're doing that, otherwise you're going to end up with an extra payment. So your result for this one, and it states it right in the text, should be 4/1 of 2046. So this is just a sheet that's going to help you figure out what calculations should go here, and your end result should look like this. And you can compare the numbers to what you're seeing on page 207. If your numbers match up, you did everything correctly. If your numbers aren't matching up, then you can address each formula and figure out what's going on with each individual formula or function. So that's the hard part. Once you get to H, you're asked just to apply the formats that you see on the image there on page 207. So you're just putting borders, filling in some backgrounds, applying some bold text. So you'll apply formatting to look like the image, and then the rest of it should be fairly simple. You're going to copy a list of range names. You're going to center the worksheet, add a footer, and then you can save and submit. I hope this video has helped you understand these formulas a little bit, help you understand this assignment a little bit. This one definitely is, like I said, one of the more difficult ones. So I wanted to create this video to help you along. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you get stuck on one of these formulas and my notes weren't enough to help you along, please contact me through email. If you have a question on a function and can't figure it out, send me what you have so far. You attach the spreadsheet so I can look at what you have. That helps me figure out what you have correct, what you don't have correct, and better see where you're at and how I can help you. So ask me the question and attach the document so that I can look at what you have. I hope this helps. Good luck.